Hello, West High families and students. This is Mr. Gross, the West Side principal, and I wanted just to provide you an update on the many happenings that will be occurring as we begin school in the hybrid model on September 28th, this coming Monday. So, welcome to this presentation. As I just mentioned, we're going to begin hybrid learning for all of the students who signed up for standard enrollment at the beginning of the school year. So if you were a student that originally signed up for online learning for the PK through 12 district online learning, this will not apply to you. This only applies for students and families who signed up for standard enrollment for the changes that will be happening on Monday. So we're beginning hybrid learning. And for hybrid, there are two groups or two cohorts. There's cohort A and cohort B. And cohort A or hybrid A group will be all students with the last name A through K. And hybrid B group or cohort B group will be all students, last names L through Z. All families should have received an email from the district on August 22nd, 2020 to inform you of which hybrid group you'd be in, which cohort you'd be in. The hybrid learning schedule, it fluctuates and it changes. So week one, this coming Monday, September 28th, hybrid A group or cohort A group will be meeting Monday and Tuesday, and then hybrid or cohort B group will be meeting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it always goes 2, 3, and then 3, and then 2. So that way that students in both hybrid cohorts are getting the same amount of instruction. When you're not in school, you'll be doing asynchronous learning, which we've been doing already in the online model. Here's a version of what your schedule is going to look like. So the difference is when you're in the building, when you're here at school, you'll be having a full schedule. Period 1 begins at 8:50, just as it always has. You have period 1, period 2, period 3. Then there are 3 different lunch shifts. Period 5, period 6. We have a homeroom where most students will stay in their 6-period class for homeroom. And then we have period 7. Couple of things on your schedules. Your PowerSchool app that's on your phone, room numbers do not appear. That's a glitch in the app. We have no say over that. So if you want to make sure that you have a schedule with the room numbers on it, you need to take a screenshot of your schedule, of your PowerSchool schedule from your home computer or your Chromebook, or just print a copy of your schedule. But don't come to school on Monday thinking I'm good. I'm just going to look at my phone, because your room numbers of your classes will not be there. If you want to schedule with room numbers, screenshot from a computer or print a hard copy and bring to school on Monday. We'll still be going to be having parent-teacher conferences. The days have shifted. Parent-teacher conferences for all 3 high schools will be Tuesday, October 13th, and Wednesday, October 21st, from 4:15 to 7:45. And all high schools will be hosting conferences on the same night, because for our students who are still in the pre-K through 12 online learning academy, as you know, some students have teachers from all the high schools. So this way, all the high school teachers at all 3 schools will be available for conferences that will be done virtually, and teachers will be coordinating the schedule and how parents sign up for that. And we did shift the midterm a little bit later as well. Midterm is now October 21st here in the school district. We want to make sure that students and staff are as safe as possible. So we have, the district has started some COVID stay-at-home guidelines. And one thing we want to make sure too, that obviously COVID is serious, but it's one of many illnesses that can inflict people. So if you don't feel good for any reason, if you think you're sick or you're ill, please do not come to school. But right now, this is specific to COVID. If you have any of the following COVID symptoms, and they're listed right there, then this is the protocol we want you to follow. So if you have said yes that you have COVID, or you've tested positive for COVID, or you've been in close contact with someone that has COVID, please contact the school and let us know that. there are several protocols that will have to go take place to make sure that we can get you back in school. If you as a student, if you test positive for COVID and you're quarantined, you will still be required to keep up with your schoolwork through Canvas. It would be the same as just any other long-term um, illness or any long-term absence you might have. If you test positive for COVID and actually have severe symptoms, talk with your teacher and we'll make sure that we can make accommodations for you. Transportation will be starting on Monday, and that will look the same as it has with two big exceptions. The two big exceptions, number one, all bus riders and bus drivers must wear a face covering, a face mask that covers both their mouth and their nose. Gaiters and face shields are not acceptable. Those can be used with a face mask, but you have to have at least a face mask. The other new change is that all students will have an assigned seat and will ride the same bus to and from school in their assigned seats. It is imperative, students and families, that you comply with this request and that you sit in your assigned seat. Students may not arrive prior to 8:35 in the morning. So the doors to the school will open at 8:35. Once students are let in, they are to proceed straight to their first period. Because of the pandemic and because of social distancing guidelines, we can't stay and congregate in the commons like we have in the past. No student will have an open period this year as well. All students are assigned to a study hall. And if students must exit the building or move out of the area at the end of the day, at the end of the day, students must exit the building immediately or head immediately to their extracurricular period or activity after their last period. So, a quick recap. Students may not arrive prior to 8:35. Students will not be having any open periods. They'll be assigned to study hall. And students must exit the building at the end of the day. And I'm going to talk about this later, but there is also no open campus this year. So students are not allowed to leave campus at any time during the day. So in the past, if for upperclassmen, you've had an open period, you can leave. That won't be the case this year, unfortunately. Students and staff should use hand sanitizer when entering and exiting classrooms at any time. So as a student, if you go into a classroom, you're going to want to get all hand sanitized up. If you need to use the restroom during that class, you'll hand sanitizer on the way to the bathroom, and then you'll use hand sanitizer entering the classroom again. Face masks are required when all students and staff are in the building. That is not going to be debated. That's not going to be compromised. And that is the same if you're in the building, on district property, or on the bus. A gaiter is not sufficient. A face screen is not sufficient. You must be wearing a face mask. If you want to wear a screen or a gaiter on top of your mask, that is fine. There are some students in the most limited situations where a face mask is not medically expected or recommended. If that is the case, there is a district form that a family can fill out, and you can apply to be approved for a medical exemption of the face mask policy. What won't be allowed, though, is if you're saying you don't want to wear a face mask because you don't think you have to, or you think it's against your right, or you think wearing a face mask is a political statement, those are unacceptable reasons to be asking for a waiver of the face mask requirement. Within our instructional spaces, within our classrooms, students will be 6 feet apart. Students will have seating charts in every class. And again, some teachers in the past have not used seating charts. In order to properly do contact tracing, should we need to, students must sit at all times in their assigned seat. There will be very limited use of shared objects in the classroom. If objects must be used, they will be cleaned between uses. One shared object that will not be allowed this year are loaner Chromebooks. There will be no loaner Chromebooks. So you must charge your Chromebook. You must bring your Chromebook. In the past, if you forgot your Chromebook, we hooked you up with the Chromebook. We won't be able to do that this year. If you come to school without your Chromebook or without your charged Chromebook, you'll be required to do the activities, but you'll have to do them on paper and not online or virtually with your Chromebook. Breakfast and lunch. Students must stay and eat in the cafeteria until dismissed. So we still are offering breakfast for those students who qualify. So when you arrive to school, head straight to the cafeteria. Menu items are served to students or in individual packages, but there won't be like self-serve buffet that's been in the past. You must always wear your face mask in the cafeteria, except when you're in the actual act of eating. We have a touchless payment process, so you won't need to be touching anything. And again, no open campus. You have to eat lunch on campus. Water fountains are shut off. However, there are bottle fillers. Water bottle fillers are most water fountains. Those are still operational. So please bring your water bottle from home, and you can use that on the water bottle filler in our drinking fountains to get water. But otherwise, there's no water fountains in the building. There will also be no lockers. There are absolutely no lockers in the hallways to be used. There are very limited use of athletic lockers for certain sports, and there will not be PE lockers. And since there's not PE lockers, students who are in PE will not be changing into PE clothes. So you will not be dressing out for PE. What you wear to school is what you will wear at PE. Regarding parent and community interactions, all meetings with families will be done virtually or via the telephone. That's been mostly Zoom from a virtual standpoint, and obviously the phone is the phone. So if we have an IEP meeting or a parent-teacher conference or a 504 or anything like that, that will be done virtually. Parents, when you drop, and guardians, when you drop your students off, please remain in your vehicle. If a parent needs to pick up a student at school, they should buzz the office and show proper identification, and then the student will be released to the parent. In very, very rare circumstances will parents be allowed to enter into the building to pick up their students. And if that rare occasion should occur, the parent will remain in the office. There will not be any wandering around from parents in the building. All parents must have a face mask on to enter the building. If an item needs to be dropped off for a student, the person dropping off the item should buzz the office, leave the item on the ground, and a staff member from the office will retrieve the item. I know this is a lot of information, and I'm so thankful and appreciative of all the flexibility and grace and really just general compassion that everybody has been showing each other through this difficult time. We are so appreciative of it. While we are excited about getting students in the building on Monday, there's still a lot of apprehension about that. We are working through to make sure everything is as safe as possible for our students as well as our faculty and our staff. I'm Mitch Gross, our principal. Here's my email address. We are fortunate to have two outstanding assistant principals, Allison Brewer and Luke DeVries. Their emails are up there. We have a wonderful dean of students, Jenny Eustace. This is her email. And then our athletic director, Mr. Hegel, Craig Hegel. If you have any questions regarding activities or athletics, please contact him. And then if you have questions about schedules or classes for your students or for you as students, here are the counselors. If your last name is A through D, you have Paul Breitbach. If your last name is E through J, you have Kelly Bergman. If your last name is K through Q, you have Greg Yoder. And if your last name is R through Z, you have Kay DeLeo. We are very appreciative of everyone's willingness and hard work during this time. And we'll see you guys on Monday. Go West.